Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment. All right, Frid, episode 28, and we're going to start off with listener comments. We had some great comments from our fans this week. We got several reviews. First, from Bronzy64, said, "Great podcast. Excellent podcast to fill in the gaps with recent departures. Keep up the good work." And I didn't know what he meant by departures at that point, and we'll cover that in a little bit. Next was Pushy Wood. "Big fan. I'm a huge fan of you guys. I look forward to the podcast every week. My only complaint is that the episodes aren't long enough. Thanks for the content. I really appreciate it." Well, we try. If you saw what we leave on the cutting floor, you would be 3 hours long, and I'd have to edit it. So who keeps sticking to about 45 minutes. And so hopefully we pack it with good information. So Fritz, those were some great comments, but why don't you start us off with gearing?
Yes, of course. And I'm actually going to go a different direction. Instead of starting with gearing, I'm going to give a tip that I mentioned last week, and it kind of it blew your mind a little bit. You were so excited about it. And unfortunately, it has to do with your favorite game mode, that is Blitz. But fortunately, it helps with Blitz. So we use Memu. I don't know. The emulator, not BlueStacks, but Memu. But this works on either one, where you can map shortcut keys to your screen. So I have gotten down to a science, and this is harkening back to your days where you played Call of Duty on your PC, right? So you know the WASD is where it's at. So I kind of leveraged that knowledge and said, okay, A and D are always like right and left, right, when you're moving. So I use those to move my team's selection, right? Thank God they added those little arrows. Kudos there, the only quality of life they've added to Blitz. So I use A and D to move and switch around to do my team selection. And then S, I do to select the enemy team and switch it. So I can, that's the shopping. And it actually works because it's S. So you're going, okay, I pick my Inhumans and let me see what we get. I don't like anything, then you move with D, then hit S again, and keep cycling. Once you like what you see, you hit the space bar to start the match. That starts the match. And then you hit Q for auto. I think that one's a default. It may be from Memu, but I use Q. You could use W, E, any of those. And then once it ends, it so happens that the continue button is also in the space bar where the start match is. So you just hit the space bar, you finish this match, and you start over again with your shopping and cycling. You could even do it blindly if you don't care about shopping, right? You just do it mechanically.
Yeah.
And I think this is what bots do program, right? They just cycle through this process continuously. But you do it by hand. I do it with the left hand. You're working. You're doing something else with the right. You could do it that way. So
yeah, I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, the laziest man approach, leveraging some knowledge from old PC gaming. And, you know, once you get used to it, it's pretty nifty. So anyway, that was that. Hopefully that helps some of you. And we, you know, tell us if you want more info on how to do this. It's pretty simple. Okay, so gearing. It was a pretty good week of leveling and gearing things according to the plan. So that because we can spend money now. Money mean gold, in-game money. I did a T4 on Loki Ultimate, like we talked about. I did Taskmaster Passive that I hadn't done yet. And then I lost an arena match against a Black Order with my Black Order, and I got mad, and I realized that I hadn't finished off the T4s there. So I basically did the last Thanos, which were the basic and the special, and I also did Proxima Basic. So a lot of T4 expenditure. I saw that we get about an ability and a half or something like that a week, and I have over 2,000 credits, so I did decide to spend some more. Next in line here are going to be the mercenaries. I think Merc Lieutenant needs a couple, and that pains me because it's a minion, but it really makes that team work, and they are tough on war defense. It's a pain. I also got T12 on the Taskmaster, T11 on Ultimus.
What was the
Um,
motivation on Ultimus? That one kind of surprised me.
um, just the I was trying to find where to spend a few 100,000, and sometimes I've been wanting to do him. He's kind of behind compared to the rest of that team
Mm-hmm.
because Minerva and Captain Marvel are so big,
Okay.
and it's all in anticipation of that 5 red star that's
Fair
coming.
enough. Fair enough.
But
Okay.
it's Mystic, doesn't compete with anything. Just kind of like that. I also did T13 Loki. I forgot to mention
Hey,
that.
hey, all right.
I kind of looked, and it was like I have enough of all this. He's Mystic, doesn't compete with any of the others. So, yeah, they're looking pretty good. And I got a bunch of others to the parking lot, like the Blob and Toad and some of the others that I hadn't done. So a pretty good week from that perspective. And next week is Emma week. I'm on track to unlock her on Monday. And then I'll go to town getting her to 13 right away and installing her in defense and blitz for another auto team. I opened some red stars and I got Baron Zemo to 4. So I had to open quite a bit, so I wasn't happy about it. I really want to save for Dr. Octopus, which, if everything goes according to plan, I should be able to unlock. So I don't think I'm going to do anything to Electro, just going to save them for um, Doc Ock, especially since you can get at least some from Blitz now on Electro. Uh, that's it for me, creative. Oh, there's one more note, and that is that I want to get Taskmaster to T13, but I don't have 400 ballistic weaves like you do, so I have to save them for Emma.
And how far
So
are you planning on going with Emma?
13 right
Okay.
now,
Fair enough.
and the 3 T4s.
And have I persuaded you enough that you're going to try the real Apex U17?
Not yet.
All right. Okay. Well, you also have the big Thanos, and that's my Achilles heel right now. So okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, I've been talking up Taskmaster for a while on the show, and been doing it quite a bit with the Alliance. We did have those milestones for PvP, and I basically picked him almost every time, and it still surprises my opponents. His first turn ultimate does a ton of damage, and then after that, it blinds people. I think one guy was just like, he paused. You could just say he was like, "Oh, goodness gracious."
What happened?
What happened? Of course, he had Sinister, and I couldn't kill Sinister, and he cloned my Taskmaster, and that was the whole reason he won. But anyway, so I've been on a Taskmaster high. I T4'd his passive a little while back, and I started getting at least one DV. And then I took him to T13 and T4'd his ultimate, and I got 6 DVs, defensive wins, and it took a 100k punch up from a Black Order to take him out. So that was I'm not going to give away too much here, but there's a trick to keeping teams at certain levels so people don't actually take out a big team. So there's a sweet spot around 225 to 260. And if you can keep like a really strong player or team in that range, people are like, oh, it's only 250. Let me just do this instead of pulling out the big gun. So that happens a lot too. So anyway, he has was doing great in war. I have taken him into Gamma because I unfortunately have the middle and I have to use defenders, but I can use mercenaries. So I took him in, and I'm having some success against the boss node, the second boss node that has been problematic forever. But anyway, red stars, I have a new method. I'm not going to go into those details. I'm keeping it secret because every time we talk about how great things are working for us, 2 weeks later, magically it doesn't work anymore. So I'm not going to reveal my strategy. There's no real method to it, to the madness, to be honest. It's just one little trick. I know I'm not spending money, but I opened about 4 or 5 regular red star orbs and then 1 elite 4, and I got a 5 red star on Zemo. My first thought was, oh, that's awesome. That's a new team. And then I thought, oh, darn. Because my X-Bones, Crossbones, my Winter Soldier, and Grenadier are a combined 21,000 collection power. So I don't see myself working on that team for a while. And of course, I'm not going to see 5 yellow stars for 8 months anyway. Look at Colossus, or not Colossus, Cyclops as an example. So I'm still going to look at that Hydra team, but I think we'll probably get more value out of X-Force after Emma gets through and steals all our mutant mats. But so I don't think I'll be doing anything with that team. But it's nice to have yet another 5 red star. It's a skilled character, so we typically have that gear. So that was kind of my big things. I'm kind of, unfortunately, at that threshold around ABCs. We need about 355 for Emma, and I'm right around that threshold. So I've started chipping away at those 21 characters that were ready to unlock at 7 yellow stars, just to spend the gold to get to Emma. I'm a little bit behind Frid, so probably end of next week. So with that, let's switch gears and talk about the news.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
And so last week we had a feature, or we talked about these upcoming Blitz changes, but we couldn't actually see them because the first Blitz that we would actually see them in was on Monday. And so let's talk about these things. First and foremost, there's more milestones, there's new rewards, and so let's break it down. First and foremost, while there are more milestones, you are still getting exactly the same amount of Blitz Orb fragments, Blitz credits, and golds. They just divided those amounts up over 20 milestones instead of 14. So first and foremost, what a missed opportunity. Come on, Fox Next. You know we're going to do the math. So a little disappointed.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That part of it, I was surprised that they shuffled it around, and I thought, oh, well, maybe this is where they'll increase, but they actually didn't. It was just spreading things around. I don't know what the point of that is.
Oh, we'll get to the point of that in a minute. Don't you worry. Next was the reward tiers, and so there was a huge nerf to the top 15 players. But who cares? We're not blitzing that much, and we don't have the crazy collection powers, and these people need a life anyway. So, no.
Or to turn off their bots.
Yeah.
Wait, what? No, a life, yes.
Right. So, top 15 players got a huge nerf. They went from, the top guy 295 shards down to a low 100 or 110. The group, really the only group out of all of this, they talked about everybody was going to get more shards. And I said if it wasn't 50 shards per, it wasn't worth it. And the only group that came out ahead, significantly ahead, was the top 1%, which is around the top 3,000 players. All of those folks, instead of getting 55 shards, are now getting 100, 110. I forget what the number was. So
it's 100 for both.
There we go.
The only difference between top 100 and 1% is the addition of red stars.
Yeah, so really the top 3,000 players, and really the top 2,900 players got a boost out of all of this. Everyone else got maybe 10 shards or nothing. So, some content creators did the math, and overall Fox Next or Scopely is giving out, more shards to the community base, but come on, if you're expecting us to blitz as much as what you are, then I wanted to see more. And of course, they did away with the top 2,000, but really that's now the top 3,000 is the number you have to really get into. So Frid, I'm obviously going down a negative track here. Can you help us? Can you give us some quick thoughts?
Give some light in the darkness? No. So first of all, one of the other things that was nebulous in the announcement that we didn't know what was going to be had to do with the points. And they said that they were going to balance them out a little bit more so that when you're facing 8.3, you wouldn't get as many points. And boy, it was like, you did some numbers on this. How much was it the nerfing of 8.3?
I want to say around 28% or something pretty high.
30%, right? Yeah.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Because I used to get, 110 with the Black Order, and now it's in the 70s. So it feels like about 30% hit on the 8.3. So what that means is what we thought, that the method that we've been using forever in some cases when we don't care, of, hey, you drop intentionally with the garbage characters that you don't use anyway to a lower tier and then pop back up in auto fashion, seems to be the curve is evened out, so you may be able to get more points this way. Why? Because you'll win more and you can run more teams. And not just that, but you could also auto more at those lower tiers, right? Because in 8.3, you got to kind of pay some attention. I still auto everything, as you know, but sometimes I direct the action. When you're down there in 7.0, you may not need to. Just auto the whole thing and do it again. So I'm going to actually do some tracking on this week. Just do a few cycles on the first blitz of this week. That doesn't matter. And just compare my normal 8.3 cycle versus this drop and pop and see how long it takes and what are the points. And I'm going to do it in full auto. And the 8.3, I'll do the shopping and all that. And then on the other one, I won't do as much shopping. So it's kind of the parameters I'm going to try to do and see what we come up with. Because it's not just points. It's about your time and aggravation with playing blitz.
Yeah, so. I mean, I did the math on the I only have about 4 different tiers because I have so many teams that are either really high to kind of parking lots. So I only have about 4 blitz tiers that I use, and it's still a very dramatic drop from 8.3 down to 7.0. It was pretty significant, but I have that chart that I did, Frid, so we'll update that a little bit. We can cover it next week, but it's still, you're losing a lot of points.
Right. Everybody is, right?
Yes. So. Well, no, I'm just saying in general, in terms of if you stayed at 8.3 versus doing the drop down, you're still going to be losing a lot of points. So think of it, off the top of my head, and I don't have it open right now, so apologies to our listeners, but let's say you're getting 70K at 8.3, you're going to be getting, I think it was like 45K down in the 7s. So it's a pretty significant amount of additional blitzing that you would do, but at the same time, you should be winning those lower levels. Though you still have 7.3, which is really like 8.2, and I don't know. I don't like how they screwed up the point system, to be honest, and how they make 7.3 harder than 8.0. I think it's weird.
Yeah, it is. That's the other thing, too, that I'm starting to notice. So when I try this method, I may discover that's the case. So you do have to do some shopping anyway, so it doesn't really help.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, I mean,
it's... I don't know if this helps at all. And we haven't seen the scores on a real one. This week is going to be the test with Zemo. I think people are interested in him. I don't know that he's like a game changer, though. So I'm curious to see what happens. Even Colossus will be interesting, what the scores come back as.
Sure,
absolutely. I know he's a hard farm. It's 1 node. So
yeah.
Okay, so the other thing, the addition of red stars and the elimination of that top 2,000 cutoff, I think, were steps in the right direction. They made it look like the Tadano Mac, which we said that's a good idea when we saw it.
Yep.
It levels the playing field. But unfortunately, that gives a ceiling of a 4-star character, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to spend otherwise. That's it.
Yep.
So the whales that were whaling anyway will continue to do so, and then they'll have to blitz less, I suppose. So maybe that opens up the space for some other people to get into that 1%. Top 100, I think that's a lot. So a missed opportunity. If the shards were going to stay the same, they could have gone to 500 for that 4th red star. But anyway, you know how it is. They try to artificially limit the resources. But it does help, and if you wipe out like Domino, I had 1 star, and if she were a blitz, she wasn't. You could catch up on your red stars there. Unfortunately, and back to negative, is that they didn't do a lot for the time spent in game. The whole capping of 8 attacks, that's crazy, 16 hours. And the shopping or the pop, no matter how you do this, you still have to blitz a lot. Even with my tips on how to use shortcuts, you still need to blitz a lot to get the points. So I'm not sure when this is coming, if ever, the less time on blitz part of the equation.
Yeah, and so Frid is the more diplomatic of the two of us. This is the same as the Red Star Band-Aid. It's a shell game to try and keep their existing business model. They did no changes that really benefit us overall. This is lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. It just has red lipstick on it. So they didn't address our key concerns. There's still a dramatic amount of time you've got to do it. Yes, they helped the top 3,000 players, but everyone else saw marginal to no benefit. And the addition of red stars is good. Let me be very clear. That is very good. But you're doing it 2 weeks after the character comes out and is in the red star. So, it's basically like, oh, darn, I only got a 1 red star. So now if I blitz hard, I can get 3. So you're still going to be opening your red star orbs during that 15% drop chance window, which is 2 weeks ahead of the blitz. So I just feel like things are out of order. They're still out of sync. They still are not addressing our key concerns. Thumbs down.
Yeah, if they were to reverse that, then it would not make much money because they wouldn't sell those red orb packs. So.
And who is buying red stars? Come on, stop it. Just stop it. Come on.
I'm sure somebody is, because that offer has not changed since ever.
No. Okay, what else do we have in the news, Fred?
Let's see here. We mentioned at the beginning on the review that there were recent departures, and Creative was like, what are they talking about? And I was the same way. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure what they're talking about here. So when the Masters of Launch episode came out, it came with some news that the longtime content creator Chewburger84 has quit the game, cold turkey, not even like going super casual like his partner Roy. He just quit, deleted it, gone. And that's kind of sad, right? Those guys are alternate reality, had really great ideas always with theory crafting. He came up with some of those tech wings and Law and Order, cool names and cool teams that we use. We're going to miss him. I think he's going to look for other games, so we hope he finds something that is interesting to him, and we look forward to seeing what's next for Chewburger. Other content creator Tana, he's one of the hardest working content creators out there. Not only does he put a video out every day, but it's like it has a presentation and there's some research. I used to give him some flack because I thought he was phoning it in, but lately he has kind of stepped up his game, and he had a nice open letter to Scopely about some of the major shortcomings of the games. And he started it with a very positive message that he's not quitting and that he's not retiring and that he loves the game and he can't wait for Gambit. He even changed his little icon to Gambit. But he's like, there's a lot of things that need to be worked on. And obviously the roadmap did not address it. This blitz thing that they snuck up on us doesn't address anything. And he has a list. So we recommend you go take a look if you're interested in what are some of the things that need fixing. So Creative, 2 questions. Are we on the verge of another fix MSF movement or another Creative is about to retire moment?
I don't think so. We were certainly very negative, and I continue to be negative about what they listed as the Roadmap 2020. They still continue to do marginal or incremental changes instead of the big things that we need. But I am encouraged by, I actually listened to the Masters of Launch. I think you told me about Wolverthor. I went and watched his version of the Blitz, video. I haven't actually been watching a whole lot of videos lately, just been a little crazy at work. But I'm encouraged that we're not the only voice saying, come on, this is, enough's enough kind of thing. So I do feel like, there's a pent-up frustration level that's out there. So it's encouraging. So, misery loves company kind of thing. But I also, if those people are saying it, then I think there's a greater chance that Scopely will listen. So
good. Well,
I still will say that I'm still annoyed at the Fix FS. I always do this. I can't say it right. Fix MSF movement, and that how they just caved 8 months ago.
They folded
like a cheap suit. I tell you. So anyway, well, with that, let's close out the news with our still haven't heard. Blitz, we still did not get any automation of matches. The mode still does not help players do push-ups. I mean, you got Frid just autoing the whole thing. Yo-Yo, still only in the premium orbs. No changes to low quality time. And then I don't know if I've heard anything about Domino or X23 farmability. I think you're going to tell me a little about Domino, but there's still no farmability of X23. So the Scopely effect of paywalling characters to get to the legendary the first time around still appears to be in effect. So
yeah, I mean, we're running out of time here, and where's my X23? I don't know.
Yep. So let's switch gears and let's run the numbers. So last week we talked about Cyclops becoming farmable. And so I was not sure how many raid credits we get. I just know that I spend a whole lot of them buying purple gear. And every once in a while, some orange catalysts of sorts. So I went and did the math. And we, meaning Frid and I, that are in-game players, doing Greek Raid 100%, doing U7 difficulty tier 2, we are getting 5,000 raid credits per day. So that was a big number that I didn't realize how big we had. And that ends up being 38,000 raid credits per week. I did not have time this week. I'll do it next week. For mid-game players, I want to see how much they're getting from U6. 100% and doing a Greek raid around 60% on probably level 3. So we're still getting quite a bit of raid credits, which was great to see. So with that, we said, okay, now that we're getting 38,000 raid credits per week, surely we can unlock Cyclops in no time. And not so much. So based upon our in-game player math and the continual trickery and RNG that Scopely applies to the raid store, you're going to be lucky to get about 4 shards per day. There's about an 80% chance of Cyclops showing up. So if you were at 4 yellow stars and you needed 130 shards to get to 5 yellow stars, it will take you 31 days. And then on top of that, it's going to take you another 48 days to get Cyclops to 6 yellow stars, and then 72 days to get him to 7 yellow stars. It has been so long since I've farmed anything from the raid store. We talked about Namor was the last one there in February. I had no clue of how slow this farm is. That is 151 days or 5 months to get Cyclops from 4 yellow stars to 7 yellow stars. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, Creative, what about all those raid orbs? We get shards there, don't we? Well, we do, but they've diluted the orb now by adding yet another character. And we only get 2, after you do all the math, and even with the raid season rewards that we get every 2 weeks, you're going to get a whole 2 extra shards per week from the orbs over 2 weeks. So it's going to take forever. Personally, I am looking at early November, and it's not September just yet, but early November to get my 7 yellow star Cyclops. Sad face.
So he came out when? It was like around Valentine's Day,
It
right?
was, 8 months ago, I think. Yeah, 8 months ago. So he came
beginning of the year. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically for a hardcore player, free to buy anything. I think I bought some of his shards at some point, but we're talking about a year process on him.
Oh, if you go from 0 to 7. Whoa,
yes.
Goodness gracious.
And you had to have done all that stuff that you had to do with him. Remember, like the 2 milestones and the confusing stuff. Yeah. So anyway, a full year to get there. So maybe that's one of the paths they're going down to, a year long. So think about Zemo. It'd take you a year. Okay.
Rescue us, Frid. Let's get some positive numbers. What do you got?
Yeah. So we updated our ABC numbers now that all the Great Raid orbs now have ABCs. Woo-hoo! So we do, as we mentioned, 100% most days now of the 4th level, tier 4. So that means another 47 extra ABCs a week from Greek raids.
Awesome.
It's like music to your ears right there.
Absolutely.
We did lose a little bit on the Emma milestones. They took away 5 there, but we have 209 a week extra. 209 total ABCs for the week, which is an extra of about 40. So
200. I mean, that's pretty good now. Hey, that's
a character takes how many?
355, at least for Emma.
on average.
Yeah.
So 2-week thing. So you can run parallel with her release and get the ABCs that you need. Now you gotta be kind of endgame like us, but that's good news. More ABCs is always good.
I still revel at the fact that you were able to get into Dark Dimension 2 long before they did any of these ABC updates, and I still just think of the pain that you were going through for that. So for newer players, crunch. Oh gosh, that had to be horrible. Having to actually farm ABCs instead of the other stuff. So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, what else? What are some other positives? Come on, keep them coming.
Yeah, still haven't heard. Well, now you've heard. Creative Domino, it's coming. And it's coming to the Blitz store of all places.
Oh, that's awesome. We have so many Blitz currencies, or Blitz credits. That's fantastic news.
I know. Not so fast, Creative.
What do you mean?
They're not putting her on the store. They're doing the old rescue 10% drop rate on the orb.
Goodness.
So she's not dedicated slot.
Wow. Goodness gracious.
So let me run a few numbers by you and let me know what you think about this, okay?
Okay.
So that means that at 10% and 5 is what you get in the middle.
Right.
5 shards. So we expect half a shard per orb, right? So it's essentially you need to open 10. 10%, 1 in 10. Yep. You open 10, you get 5 of her.
Wow.
Woo. So let's say you have a 4-star domino, which you can if you do the event kind of free to play. That's average. That means you need 130 shards. So you would need to open 260 blitz orbs, which if you factor in they cost 350. That is 91,000 blitz credits to get from 4 to 5. So if you remember, we did the math on the blitz credits, right? Because you have war, you gotta buy the characters, and you have war boosts and attacks that you need to buy, and you have other characters that you care about, like Toad. Yeah. So assuming that you don't do anything but buy her, right? Because you want Doc Ock for a little bit, and you tank or you pay the $10 for the pack of shame or whatever you do to try to be competitive in war. You don't do anything. We're getting about 14,000 blitz credits a week. And remember that this is with 4 cycles, about 15 wins per cycle every day. That's a lot of blitzing, but we're 15 is a little low. We have more teams now. That could probably be increased to about 18, but let's just pretend that's it. If you do that, and that means you complete all the milestones. From those, you get 10 blitz orbs from those milestones that you complete. Right. The 750,000 on the character, and then the red orbs and all that stuff. Plus the credit, let's say you use them all to open orbs. That gives you 50 orbs to open in a week. Again, you're not doing anything else on this store. That would get you 25 domino shards.
A week?
For a week.
Wow.
So it would take you 5.2, so a little over 5 weeks to go from 4 to 5 on domino. Again, you're not doing anything else. Forget war, forget everything.
So we'd get kicked out of our alliance because we're not doing our buffs and our extra attacks.
I don't know when Doc Ock is coming, but I think it's less than 5 weeks out. Also, this must be the most expensive shard. 1 domino shard costs about 700 blitz credits. Now remember, it's the blitz store. You get 5 for 500.
If it's a non-minion, then it's even less.
That's right.
Jeez.
So, but this method is 700 for 1, or like 3,500 for 5.
So yeah, so basically we're seeing the paywall effect, and so as soon as Doc Ock his first event goes away, then they're gonna put Domino in with Thor, in that Doom War. So
and and then we got X23, which we don't know where she's at.
Yes.
This is where I did my trick with the points on the Apple credits. Remember all that to get the $25? I had some foresight that I thought she was gonna be the one that they hide, so I nailed it. I need 21 domino shards, so I'm good. And also, don't hate me, but as you know, I'm a prolific blitzer, and I have 76,000 blitz credits. So I'll be opening all of them to get some gold and get domino, like I did it for Strife, and then Toad. Right? What's the next one?
Yeah, it was Toad.
Yep, but not.
Wow.
I don't know. What do you think of all these numbers? I mean, most people don't have these many credits.
No, absolutely not. And you know, we've now gone up to, what is it, gold 4 in War, and it's even more competitive. I mean, our last alliance was 20% higher than us, and they all went and bought 11 attacks worth. So
they had the first 8 million TCPs we've seen, right?
No, we've seen several 8 millions before. So
okay.
Yeah. But it was just that the volume was a little bit higher, and the fact that their lowest player was like around our highest player.
That's what
yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously, just to be competitive in War, you've got to do at least one extra attack, at least one buff, and if not, 2 more. So yeah, that's rough. The rescue treatment, well, that's a slap in the face. So, and it's not like she's like some groundbreaking character either. She has one purpose.
Yeah, she's kind of the worst of the bunch, I feel, but you need her to make the thing work. But anyway.
Kind of like the rescue effect to Power Armor.
Seems like the same, yeah. That's interesting.
Well,
they're repeating.
Okay, well,
yeah. It sounds like we bled into the next segment, which is the Festivus.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
I'm going to talk about another one of your favorite game modes, Creative. I don't know which one you like more. It's in DD3, which you find completely pointless, or Blitz, which is just a pain. I guess the time commitment is so low in DD3 that it doesn't bother you as much as Blitz. Yeah. But it's... So I'm excited. I finished the one time. I'm going the second time. I'm like, okay, this time must be easier, right? Because I have more characters, blah, 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 blah. Nah, it's the same. I looked at node 4, right?
Uh-huh.
And the node would start. Now, remember, I have a 7 red star Black Bolt, right?
Yeah,
he has...
Remind us who's node 4 again? Is this Miss Marvels or something else?
I forget who's in there.
Okay. But still, these early nodes are painful, right?
There's some Strife.
Oh,
something.
Yes, I remember this node. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so my 7 red star T14 Black Bolt.
Beefy guy.
Maxed out.
Beefy guy.
Start tech to the max. He has 300,000 health or thereabouts.
Okay.
Base. I don't know what the bonus is. And 10,000 armor, right? It's just like, this guy is tough. He gets one shot before you can take a turn. Like, what is the point of this game mode? Like, you go in, here's Black Bolt, this super duper guy, and he just dies.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you're like, oh, okay. I guess I'll reset and see if they hit something else, like Greg. It's really not that. That's all. That's all there is to it. I don't get. It's meant to be just a Phoenix grind. Do the attacks, run it again, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just a long grind. There's nothing else to say. There's no strategy.
Yep.
What strategies am I supposed to use?
Yeah.
Against that?
I still think you're going to lap me because I don't do any Phoenix attacks. I'm on node 8, which is the last global one. And you get through the first wave, and then 5,000 shield members drop down. I got through that wave, and now I got 5,000 versions of Sinister Six. Oh, and then they throw in... who do they throw in? Mordo to heal block you, and Doctor Strange. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, Phoenix special, call it a day. So yeah, I don't spend any thought process on that game mode. They did not put any thought process into designing it, so I'm not going to spend any thought process.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the DD3 topic, I have a conspiracy corner item. And for those of you that have Sinister and are using him, particularly in DD3, I've seen it a little bit in Blitz, but particular in DD3, I want you to think about or pay attention to when you do a clone, where do they place that clone? Now, I bring this up because I only have 4 characters right now in that node for me for globals. I've got Phoenix, Colossus, Shuri, and Sinister. And so, hey, there is a clear open spot, the 5th member spot. I clone with Sinister, and never, ever does the clone go into the empty spot. I put a screenshot in our Discord. I had Sinister and Phoenix left. And, Phoenix is all the way to the right. Sinister is in the middle. I do a clone. So we've got a whole side of the board that's open. Where do you think that clone went? Right
in
between
that
the
open
2
spot, right?
So literally, I cloned. It was Coulson at the time. We literally put him right next to both characters. I notice this every time I clone. I don't clone very often just because they die within 2 seconds. But I want everybody to take a note, particularly in DD3. When you do a clone, always right on top of the character that you don't want to have any attacks on. It's cheating. So anyway, I thought that was incredibly hilarious. I had to take a screenshot and share that with everybody. All right, so Frid, I've taken us down the dark, negative path. How about we switch gears to end it out with our "It's Very Nice" section?
Yes, so we had heard about the valuable lessons milestone. And again, they put it on the blog, but no information again about what is it, what are the rewards. Then they put it in the game, and we're like, oh, right, we're going to get to see so we can run the numbers. Well, they didn't put it until it was live. And then they put it live, and I started creating my spreadsheet to do the numbers, but quickly realized that they're super easy. So that's a good thing for Scopely. It's, first of all, a daily refresh. So all you need is 200 points, and you get some rewards. And it resets every day, and it's going to run for 12 days. Just by doing raid and arena normally, we're not talking anything crazy, nor having to bend backwards to use these mentorship characters. Just by playing normally, you get half of the points.
Yeah.
So I thought... Yeah, I think this is the kind of stuff that's a step in the right direction. And the rewards are pretty decent for something that doesn't take that extra. I mean, when I finished the calculations, I was at over 600 points, right? So you should do this 3 times over. And I look at the actual the next day, and I was at like 590. So I hadn't done that much hardcore blitzing or extra cycles. So everybody should be able to do this, young, old, new, mid game, end game. Right. It should be easy enough just by playing normally. So what do we get? I'm just gonna go through the duration of the event. 6 gold orbs, always welcome. 12 of those purple blitz gear orbs. Hey. There's ABCs in there. Mm-hmm. 240 cores. Okay. Who can say no to cores? Yep. Creative's favorite, 180 ABCs. Woo.
All right.
408 of the other catalysts, purple.
Okay.
444 SBCs.
Wow.
That's halfway through a T14. That's big. That's pretty good. And 300 mini uniques.
This one, I dropped my jaw when I saw that. Wow. Huge.
Plus 1,140 of the other focus and resistance and armor.
Well, the orange level, yeah.
Yeah, the orange level. I'm talking. That's all the I think they're trying to get people into DD3 quickly before DD4 comes, because they're starting to shower us with farmability around mini uniques, more mini uniques. Remember, this used to be the gate.
Yeah. I mean, so
I think the superior unique is now the gate again.
Yes. But I mean, this is fantastic. So you get 2 of every mini unique every day if you get through all the things. And we haven't talked about the stores this week. We're going to do it next week. We got an expose on that once we have our full data set on that. But I have been dying to get, I think it was Conductors and Icors to do Ultron and Thanos. And this easily gets me the last 10 or so that I need. So super excited. And yet again, Frid didn't have all these fancy milestone events, had to grind away to get into DD3, and then Creative just comes, hey, look at all these awesome little milestones. Very nice. So
just waltz right in.
Just waltzing right in. I mean, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So yeah, this is fantastic.
I think it takes away a bit the penalty of the T14 because the mini uniques, my understanding, are not part of T15, Gear 15. I don't think it uses those. So if we have extras, SBCs are still needed and some other stuff, but some other new gateway that I'm sure, or gate that they're going to create.
Yep.
But at least when you're looking at those mini uniques, it's not as scarce anymore. So kudos there. Then we had another one that was mentioned because of the balanced PvP mode that they are debuting, and it's called a Proving Grounds. This runs for, I think it's 2 days, and it's for doing player versus player matches. You remember they did this the first time via the achievement method. Yep. They went a different direction now, a milestone, which is good because that means you can bring it back, right?
Absolutely.
Frequently. One of the first things I noticed, because on the valuable lessons, the point structure was very complicated.
Yeah.
Needlessly so. And trying to do the math on how many of the mentorship character, it was a nightmare. This is very straightforward. 200 if you win, 100 if you lose. So very generous that it's half. That seems about a good ratio, when you lose. So that means by doing 10 matches, even if you don't play or lose, you're done with this. But, at least it gives you a taste of the mode. I actually will say I kind of enjoyed seeing what people were doing. And I did it, I think I won 3, lost, something like that. 1-4, lost 2, something like that. And the rewards for this are 8 red orbs and 3 gold orbs, which, hey, more gold and more reds just for doing this. It didn't take that long. The longest part is the draft.
Yeah.
But these kind of micro milestones to try new things keep coming. I mean,
absolutely.
Just rewarding us for trying something new. It's really a good thing. And I also learned, because I didn't do PvP since the beginning, that all you need to do is pick the symbiotes.
Yeah.
And before too long, you see the opponent with all this red stuff in them, and it's pretty over soon. Like all the debuffs. Yep. Somebody used Scientist Supreme on me, and that was, even though it was a gamble, the way it was set up, it got me good. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think again. I think we talked about that during the Milestone 2020. Or Roadmap 2020, that the game mode has some promise. It's definitely something completely different in that you're playing another person, not against the dumb AI. There's theory crafting around it. There's a little bit of trickery that you have to do with the draft. You can't go just pick the team you want and just call it a day. You really have to kind of trick them out. So. Yeah,
and then you wanna pick a symbiote if only to break up their ability to have the 3. Like you gotta disrupt that whole setup.
Yeah,
if you have those 3 together, it's gonna be a nightmare for you.
Yeah, I had a lot of people they went after the full Asgardians, they went after the full Black Order, and so if you see someone start to pick, they pick Tello, they pick Thor, go and pick Loki, just to kind of break it up. Or if they're going Black Order, pick Cole. Or pick one of the others just to kind of break things up, and obviously save your final ban for one of those key characters. But yeah, if you see them going in a particular synergy direction, pick one. But yeah, I think I talked about at the beginning of the show. Snuck in Taskmaster every time, and then would put Hela or Carnage with him. Oh man, those are red heads on the other side.
Yeah, I tried Magneto, and it didn't work as well as I thought.
You gotta have
and
another
one guy,
Brotherhood with him, otherwise he's too slow.
yeah, I put Jugs in at one point, and then somebody cloned them and used it against me. It was bad.
Yes, Sinister. So I've always had an iffy relationship with Sinister because we couldn't get him because I didn't pay money. And now, like, every time I have to face him, he's so annoying. I'm going to put him on my ban list probably, I think, going forward.
Yeah, a lot of people were banning him. You know, your bans are the usual: Phoenix, Ultron, Black Bolt. I've seen Ebony Maw get banned, Emma Frost get banned.
Yep.
Well,
again, yeah,
I thought it was that those kinds of incentives to try a new mode. You put that on a daily, some kind of reward, and we'll do it. I mean, it's not. I enjoyed it a little bit. I wouldn't do it all day, but it's a way to continue playing the game and learning more about the mechanics. So definitely interesting.
Excellent. Well, I think that's it for our show. Fred, how can people reach out to us?
Yes, so of course you can always write at rngendgame@gmail.com. That's very old school. So modern ways are Twitter at rngendgame. Even more modern if you join the public Discord, which seems some new people show up there. So like to engage in conversation. We sometimes preview things that we're going to talk about, so you can get a sneak peek of what's going on. So it's going to be on the show notes, the link to the Discord. Let's see, what else? Oh, Podbean, you can always leave a comment there. And then my favorite are those podcasts, Apple Podcast reviews, which we hadn't had 2 this week. So thank you for that. Now that that big podcast is gone, we can fight for the, supremacy of Marvel Strike Force podcasting. And your reviews help us a lot with that. So keep them coming.
All right.
Did I miss anything? I think I got it all.
I think you got it all. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Talk next week.